The Crying Game, which sounds like the original title for Monopoly. Seriously, that game is evil, and it never ends well. Especially when my girlfriend always cheats. She's always the banker and then somehow ends up making me bankrupt and U-turn. Follows Fergus, played by Stephen Ray, an IRA terrorist who kidnaps a British soldier named Jody, played by Forrest Whitaker, and holds him prisoner with just 3 days for their demands to be met, otherwise he gets assassinated. And I can't really discuss much more, or the behind the scenes production stuff, without spoilers, so Fergus can't bring himself to kill him. Well, that's a relief. I'm sure he's fine. Believing his partners in crime are also dead, Fergus moves away, changes his identity to Jimmy, where he hunts down and finds Jody's girlfriend Dill, played by Jaye Davidson. But troubles arise as Jimmy begins to fall in love with her until he realises that she has a penis. Okay, I did not see that coming. Well done, movie, well done. And the rest of the film is Jimmy falling further in love with Dill, accepting her for her preferred gender. Director Neil Jordan wrote the first draft of the screenplay in the mid-80s under the title The Soldier's Wife. The story was partly inspired by Frank O'Connor's 1931 short story Guests of the Nation, in which IRA soldiers develop a bond with their English captives, whom they are ultimately forced to kill. However, his good friend Stanley Kubrick suggested that he change the script's title as it might mislead people into thinking that they would be watching a war movie.
You're walking cliché.
The original draft of the script had the character Dill as a cisgendered woman, but Jordan had the idea to make her a transgender at the premiere of his film The Miracle at the Berlin Film Festival in 1991. The script then found its way to producer Stephen Woolley, who thought that it was brilliant, but found it incredibly difficult to secure financing in the US. The general consensus seemed to be that they believed that the character of Dill would be too difficult to cast and that the film's themes of sex and terrorism would be too controversial for general audiences. Having a transgender character is far too controversial, but casting a 12-year-old Jodie Foster as a cock-craved prostitute, I'm sorry, I'm not letting it go. That was fine, okay? Are you kidding me, Hollywood?
You may be right.
But eventually, Woolley was actually able to secure the budget from British, European and Japanese sources. When it came to casting, by far the most difficult character to cast was Dill, to the point that Jordan was worried he had written an uncastable role. However, while the casting directors were at a wrap party for the film Edward II, they came across Jaye Davidson in a bar and thought that he had the perfect look for Dill and offered him the part. And I'm not gonna lie, watching the movie, I had no idea it was a man playing this part. Genuinely, I believed it was a woman, so huge credit to him for this performance.
Of course.
However, Davidson admitted that he was very drunk at the time and wasn't particularly enthusiastic about the idea of being an actor, even thinking that the casting agents were playing a prank on him. However, he eventually accepted the role in order to pay for a pair of leather riding boots he had seen in a copy of a magazine. Weird way to spend your wages, but okay.
I'm glad.
Unfortunately, despite being nominated for an Oscar and a BAFTA for his performance, making him the first ever black British man to do so, Davidson doesn't seem to have much success as an actor after The Crying Game. He only made one other film appearance in Roland Emmerich's Stargate, but retired not long after, as he hated the amount of attention that acting had brought him. Despite this, he still found great success outside of Hollywood as a model and a photographer. Well, good on you, Jay. I'm happy for you.
I sincerely hope so.
Filming finally began in January of 1992 in Buckinghamshire, England, but the production ended up being a complete nightmare. Shocker!
I'm out.
Despite having worked so hard to get the money to shoot the film, Stephen Woolley's production company, Palace Pictures, suddenly went bankrupt, and most of the financing went with it. Because of this, most scenes of the movie could only be done in 2 or 3 takes at most, which left many of the actors extremely frustrated. The producers were constantly searching for small amounts of money to keep the production going, and the unreliable pay resulted in several angry crew members. Costume designer Sandy Powell had such a small budget to work with that she ended up having to lend Jaye Davidson some of her own clothes to wear in the film, as the two happened to be the same size.
Do you think that's wise?
In addition, during filming, Davidson got ill from the flu and a doctor was called in to take a look at him. After examining him, the doctor asked the director, "Have you considered the possibility that she might be pregnant?" To which the director laughed and told him that Davidson was in fact a man. Good, I'm glad it's not just me.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, the movie was saved when Miramax, who had initially rejected the script, saw the finished product and immediately offered to distribute the film in the US, with a clause in the contract that stated they would push the film for Oscar consideration, to which the filmmakers agreed. The Crying Game was released on October the 30th, 1992 and received worldwide critical acclaim.
Is that good or bad?
The filmmakers encouraged critics not to give the movie's twist away, and throughout many reviews the plot was kept as vague as possible, and they didn't even use any pronouns when discussing Jaye Davidson's performance in order to keep the secret. However, one critic did give away the twist, but Not in a way you'd think. In his glowing review of the movie, Richard Corliss very subtly gave away the movie's plot twist. If you take the first letter in each paragraph of his review and put them in order, they spell out the sentence, "She is a he." Okay, that is either genius or an amazing coincidence.
Jesus Christ.
Though the studios believed the film would be a flop because of the plot twist, it ended up being the main reason why people went to see the movie to begin with.
With a film like this, you almost want to tell people, look, just go see it. I don't want to talk to you about it at all.
Right.
Don't ask me what it's about. Just take my word for it. Go see it, because anything I would tell you would diminish your enjoyment of the film.
Word of mouth spread so fast that the film ended up being a surprisingly big hit, grossing $63.5 million on a budget of just $2 million.
Yeah, I heard.
The Crying Game went on to be nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, winning Best Original Screenplay. But Jordan was so adamant that he wouldn't win, he wasn't even in his seat when his category was announced. He had to be dragged out of the bathroom and onto the stage in order to accept his award.
You know, I won't be offended. Jody's never offended. What you say your name was?
And I hate it. One of the worst English accents I have ever heard.
Cause I was afraid to speak when I was just a lad.
Nah, still worse.
Not here.
Who gives a f***?
Clearly not your accent coach.
What the f***?
I'm acting.
You're being held hostage by the Irish Republican Army.
It's so honest and blunt, I love it.
You want a cup of tea?
Look, you are now held captive. You are mine. This room is surrounded by guard dogs and bouncers. You will be blown away if you even consider trying to escape. Your ass is mine now. Let me go, you mean, horrid man! Can I make you a cup of tea?
But right here, I can't see a thing. Light up the scene.
You're the one about 5'10", with the killer smile and that baby face.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
You do realise you've just given him enough reason to kill you, right? Dumbass.
Never thought fresh air would taste this good.
Alright, Forrest Whitaker deserves an Academy Award just for doing this accent with a straight face. It's almost as bad as Jason Statham's American accent.
Go back to the bank, get the video of the kid.
Almost. The thing is, his acting is incredible and so sympathetic. It's just the accent that is awful. Oh yeah, just casually show photographs of your loved ones to the criminals threatening to kill you. What's the worst that could happen? And also, if he's in a relationship, why was he trying to cheat?
What were you around for then?
You set me up.
You were trying to smash! Don't you be blaming them!
Well then, you're gonna have to take my dick out for me, are you? Come on, man, I'm gonna wet my pants.
And if Magnolia's taught us anything, it's that nothing is worse than peeing your pants. And we literally get like 2 minutes straight of the dude unzipping and helping Forrest Whitaker pee.
What the is this?
Do I hear merriment? Put an end to this happiness right now. Downright disgusting behaviour.
A frog cries out. Why, it just sting me, Mr. Scorpion.
My God, his accent is bleeding to the ears. How did this get past auditioning? How did it get to shooting? How did they not edit it out? Just dub him, do something. It is quite cool to see his captor gain sympathy and remorse for him, though, as they spend more time together. And as he begs for help, it really is emotional. You can sense the remorse and sympathy from the guy just based on his face.
Don't catch me first.
Is he 10? To be fair, I didn't expect him to then get hit by a truck. And then the bad guys get blown to pieces. And of course it stars Jim Broadbent. I swear, this man is in everything. But of course Dill has an abusive ex-boyfriend who kinda looks like Chester Bennington. But man, they kiss right in front of him just to piss him off. How mature.
Now, if you asked me to meet you tomorrow, it would really drive you insane.
She's just a stirring little hussy.
Take your goldfish too.
Jesus Christ, she just murdered his fish! What the hell did they do? So she stops him from fingering her, but then goes to jack him off instead. What's with his face, though? Is he enjoying it or not? But then he starts to fantasize about Forrest Whitaker the whole time. Bit weird. Okay, so it goes to the next stage, and that's when he realizes that she has a wiener, which explains why she wouldn't let him finger her. But this comes right the hell out of nowhere. It's such a curveball. No pun intended.
Well, is that Pat's tart? Does Pat have a tart?
She's not a tart.
No, of course not. She's a lady.
No, she's not that either.
Well, this aged well. Whew.
Do they know?
Know what, honey?
Know what I didn't know. And don't call me that.
Can't help it. A girl has her feelings.
Thing is, Dill, you're not a girl.
This must be J.K. Rowling's favourite film.
Don't be cruel.
Okay. Be a good girl. Go inside.
Only if you kiss me.
Okay, this is actually quite cute. He's reluctant to kiss her as he's still adjusting to the revelation, but he does it anyway, and is starting to accept her as a woman. But then Jimmy's old buddy shows up and begins stalking them. Alright, this is actually really creepy and intense.
You could always make it up to her.
Aye.
When a girl runs out like that, she generally wants to be followed.
She's not a girl, Cole.
Jesus Christ, dude! If she wants to be a girl, let her be a girl! That's what I don't understand! It's hurting no one! Then they just do their thing, and it is sweet how he's accepting her now. But then another argument ensues.
So tell me! I was trying to get out of something.
No! Tell me everything, Jimmy!
Mate, you're one to talk. You have a cock and didn't tell him anything. But man, I do feel really sorry for Jimmy. He was nice to Forrest Whitaker and gets punished. Now he's nice to Dill and he gets punished. He's always their punching bag just for being nice.
Let me go, Dill.
Why?
I gotta be somewhere.
It's not let me go, I don't want to die. It's let me go, I have a very important meeting that I just cannot miss. But this sequence as they're assassinating someone while Jimmy is trying to fight off Dill, it's edited together perfectly. It is a great job. But this dude's face as he gets shot is hilarious. Was he constipated when he got shot, or did he just really enjoy it? But also, I'm calling bullshit. How do these people have guns in England? Oh, what are the cops gonna do? They don't have guns either.
What would you do for me?
Anything.
Except suck your dick.
You'd never leave me.
Never.
I know you're lying, Jimmy. It's nice to hear it.
That is a really well written line. And this is a really cute and emotional scene. But Dill is awesome as she loses the plot and massacres the bitch. But Jimmy protects her, takes the blame, and goes to jail on her behalf.
What am I supposed to call you then, Jimmy?
Fergus.
Fergus. Fergus, my love.
Oh, will you make up your mind whether you love him or not? You go back and forth more than Bill Murray with Ghostbusters 3. The movie is definitely an interesting one. The problem is, I was much more interested in the first half. I wish that was stretched to the entire film, but that's not to say the last half isn't good. The relationship is unique and shows that you love the person for who they are. It's a great message, and although that's been told before to death, this definitely has a unique take on it. It's a pretty good movie. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as others, but it's still a damn good watch.
Okay. My gun went off. That's how Brandon Lee died.